Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the video, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Brother Hobby Returner R6, and now these are 1750 kV motors, and I have the 2207 and the 2205 here. If you see, compare them next to each other, obviously you can tell the difference. If you're wondering why this one doesn't have wires, it's actually because the screws on my quad rotated loose and this came off and it ripped it out, but that's no fault of the motor. It's just the only spare one I have here that's not on a quad. So some of the main features of this motor, obviously it has the very cool sort of temperature treated look to it. We have a hollow titanium shaft all the way through, and we do have sort of a serrated top part here to help keep the prop from slipping. That has worked very well for me. We do have the naked base. The 2207 actually has a 16x19 pattern, and the 2205 has a 16x16. I'm not sure where they went with that. Interesting choice. Obviously we do have a very long length of silicone wires as per other Brother Hobby motors. And then if we look at the bottom windings, we do see single strand, pretty neat, with nice thick magnets. And if you take a look at the stator, actually this guy uses a 1.5mm set screw. It comes out nice and easily, no need to use a soldering iron to heat it up, which is great. And then we can just pop the bell off to get a closer look at the stator and the laminations right there, 0.15mm. And now this is actually where one of the biggest changes to the motor is. If you look at the bearing, these are actually 9mm bearings. The normal bearings on a normal motor are about 8mm. So increasing the bearing to 9mm increases the durability by a lot, which I'll talk more about later. But you can just see the overall general bell design, and with the 4mm shaft, not a 3mm one, 4mm on the inside here, hollow as well all the way through. So let me just go ahead and put this motor back together real quick. There we go. And then it does come with some 6mm screws. That means if you are using 5mm arms, I would recommend getting some 7 or 8mm screws just to give more bite into the motor. And we'll get a quick weight on it with the 2207 with the full length of wires. Weighs about 32.8 grams, so not the lightest, but certainly not the heaviest. And then the 2205, if you're interested without wires, what the weight is, that's about 23.2 grams. So the 2205 can definitely produce some very light builds. So speaking of builds, these are the two quads that I built up using these motors. This one is using the 2205, and this one here is using the 2207. You can see this one's very dirty. I do have a broken arm right now, since I sort of smashed it full speed into a metal gate, but it happens. So the weight of this build dry, as you see it with props, was about 260 grams, but this is with the Mode 2 Ghost version 2 frame, so it's about a 65 gram frame. I'm using some full size, a little bit heavier electronics here, so if using these 2205 motors, you can probably get a 5-inch build down to about 250 grams with props. It's definitely very possible if you're using a normal frame, and if you're using ultralight things, you can probably get to about 200 grams, but these should be some very powerful motors for a lightweight build. Or if you prefer more of the big block power style, which I do, of 2207, and you're willing to take on a little bit of extra weight, these 2207 versions are really nice. This build is about 300 grams dry, so it's about 40 grams heavier, but I definitely do have more power coming out of these 2207. So let me go ahead and real quick show you some footage from the 2205 quad, and then I'll move right into some footage from the 2207. Alright, so hopefully you could tell in that first clip there on the 2205, even carrying the GoPro, I was actually really surprised how much power this is able to have and pull through, because normally carrying a GoPro on a 2205 setup is really shows the weight, and I could definitely tell it, but it handled the session pretty well, and it definitely had more power than my old 4S setups. And it definitely surprised me without the GoPro what a 2205 quad can do. If you really use the lower weight to your advantage and you hook turns tighter, you can pull just as fast as lap times with a 2205 quad if you fly it in the right way as a 2207. Then moving on over to the 2207 quad, showing you that DVR there. This was not carrying a GoPro, but that was a little bit more of an open course, but it did have some tight turns. I definitely was hauling on the battery very hard there. However, I did not pull too much using the GemFan 5149. I was able to finish those races just fine at a very fast rate, about as fast as pace as I could do. And it may be just placebo effect, but the first time I took off of this 2207 quad, I kind of said, wow, I zipped over the top of the first gate. I was not expecting as much power as they had. I'm not sure if it's because their KV is slightly higher. It's just a general quality motor, stronger magnets. I'm not really sure, but I definitely did feel like it had more pep and just a lot more grunt in it compared to my other, per se, hyperlight 2207s, which is what I've been flying for a long time on 6S here. These are 1722 kV, so depending on the actual kVs of these might be slightly closer to 1800, and these might be slightly closer to 1700, so that could also be why. But I didn't really notice a big difference in efficiency. So moving back to the topic of the 9mm bearing, the increase in the bearing there was definitely shows in the durability, because if I show you, I've crashed both these quads a lot. You can see this quad smashed right into a gate and broke the arm off, but hopefully you can hear that. The motors still sound very nice. Still sound very clean, just like brand new. And this Hyperlight quad has been crashed a bit more, but honestly, these motors with the 8mm bearings, they just are really soft. And after like the first crash, they'll sound pretty much like this. You can hear the bearings are just shredded in there. And that might not actually make a difference in flight. You might not, like racing, notice it, but definitely for freestyle or PID tuning and motor temperatures in general, you'll be getting hotter motors. So that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of this review of the Brother Hobby R6, 2207, and 2205 1750 kV motor. If you couldn't tell, I extremely like this motor. It's a fantastic motor, and pretty much the only downside that I can see to it is the increased price. It is a little more expensive, about $23, $24 for the 2207 and $20 for the 2205. It's because it's sort of more of a custom kV R6 stator size batch, a smaller batch, so it's not being produced in giant quantities. But I think it definitely is worth it, and I ordered another set to be on the way because this is definitely probably my favorite motor I've ever used, and it just looks fantastic in these tempered colors. So yeah, that's going to do it. There'll be links down in the description to the listings of both of these 2205 and 2207 motors. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.